Hi, sixth graders. Today we are looking at page 95 or section 2.5 in our book, Find Distance on the Coordinate Plane. I can use absolute value to find distance on a coordinate plane. Okay, we're really focusing on two mathematical practices today. Mathematical practice 2, which is explaining your reasoning, and mathematical practice 7, which is using structure to find a pattern. All right, so let's take a look at our essential question today. How can you find the distance between 2 points on a coordinate plane? There are 3 ways we can really do this. We can find a vertical distance, we can find a horizontal distance, or we can solve a problem using the distance and maybe having vertical and or horizontal happening, okay? So let's start with our vertical distance. Tammy drew a map of her neighborhood. How far is it from Lai's house to school? So we're looking at how far would Lai have to travel from his house to school. Okay, so the coordinates of Lai's house are -4, 3, and the coordinates for school are -4, 2. So we're looking at the absolute value of the y coordinates between the distance between each point on the x-axis. And we want to look at the absolute value because distance is not negative, and right here we're going down, so that would be a negative number, -3. And we don't go negative distance, so we're going to look at the absolute value of 2 and our absolute value of 3, -3. So our absolute value of 2 is 2, our absolute value of -3 is 3. So the distance traveled is our 3 plus 2 is 5 miles. Okay? 5 miles is what they would travel between the school and their house, both directions. All right? So let's look at this. Try it down here. What is the distance from the school to the playground? Explain how you use the absolute value to find the distance. To find the distance from the school to the playground, do you add or subtract the absolute value of the y coordinates? Make sure to explain. Okay, so this is a place that you could pause the video and try this problem and then check your work. All right, so pause the video, think about how you find the distance between the playground and school, and then check your work with mine, okay? All right, so now that you had some time to try that on your own, let's think about how we travel from the playground to school. So playground, school. All right, so the playground is -4, 5. And the school is -4, 2. So we're looking for the absolute value of our y coordinate because we're looking for the vertical distance. So we have the absolute value of 5 and the absolute value of 2. This time, we're going to take 5 minus 2 because they're in the same quadrant, okay? We're not crossing quadrants. We're not crossing the x or y axis, so we're actually going to subtract to figure out that they need to travel 3 miles, okay? So the school and the playground are in the same quadrant, So you subtract. Okay? When they're in different quadrants, you would add, like we did up here, same quadrant, we're going to subtract the absolute value. All right, let's look at finding a horizontal distance. Okay, on a coordinate plane. The Coulter family starts at their home and stops at the rest stop to eat lunch. Okay, so they're starting here, they're traveling here, and they stop to eat lunch. How much farther do they need to drive to get to the water park? So this is where they want to end. Use the coordinates to help you find the distance. Okay, so they gave us our coordinates here. Our coordinates are -8540, -40 for the water park. This is where we want to end. And then where we are driving from is not the house, but the rest stop. So that is -25 and 75 hundredths, -40. Okay. Since now we are going up and down, horizontal, we're looking at the horizontal distance, left to right. We're going to now look at the y coordinates, x coordinates, x, y, x coordinates, okay? So because we're now looking at the horizontal distance, we're looking at the horizontal coordinate, which is the x coordinate. We're taking the absolute value, which is 85.5. Drop that negative when we find absolute value. We're looking for the true value of the number, minus our 25.75. They're in the same quadrant. That is why we're subtracting. And that is going to equal our 59.75 miles left to travel. Okay, so they have 59.75 or 59 and 75 hundredths miles left to travel. So they still got a ways to go. All right, I would like you to try it out. What is the total distance of the Coulter's return trip after their day at the water park? Okay, so they are going from the water park all the way home. Remember, they are in different quadrants. Okay, that's a clue. They're in different quadrants. Go ahead and pause the video and try it out. All right, now that you had some time to try it out, we are going to look at the distance from the water park to the home, all the way to their home. So I know I have to add these values because they are in different quadrants. So I'm going to find the absolute value of -85.5 to be 85.5 plus 65 and 5 tenths is 151 miles. So I found the absolute value to be 85 and 5 tenths plus different quadrants. To be 65, and then the absolute value of 65 and 5 tenths to be 65 and 5 tenths. Remember, absolute value is finding the true value of the number. I added those together because they are in different quadrants. We're crossing the y-axis there. To be a total of 151 miles to get home. Okay? All right. Let's take a look at example 3, and we are still on page 97 in our book. Point B is on an axis and has the same x coordinate as point A. Point C is graphed at negative 2n. The distance from point A to point C is equal to the distance from point A to point B. What is the value of n? Okay, so we are looking for negative 2n. We are looking for what is this n value. We're doing that by solving because the distance from point A to point C is equal to the distance from point A to point B. Okay? So we are going to find the distance from point A to point C. The y-coordinates are the same. Okay, so we're not worried about the y-coordinates, we're worried about the x-coordinates. And remember, they are graphed here for us. So negative 2 plus 5, or the absolute value of negative 2, which is 2 plus 5, is going to give us a total of our 7 units. If we know that the distance is the same, we know that our unknown coordinate is negative 2, 7. Okay, so point C would be negative 2, 7. Okay. Go ahead and do the try it. Pause the video and try it. Point D is in quadrant 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're down here in the negative section. We're in positive, negative. Okay, positive, negative. So when we're finished, our answer should look positive number, negative number. All right, what is the quadrant in point D? Okay, so we know our x is the same at 5. Because we're changing the x value in this quadrant, and our distance is negative 7. So we're going down 7 now, over 5, down 7. So we're looking from point B, we went over to the right, so positive 5, and then down our 7 units of the distance to make sure they're the same distance apart, okay? So 6th graders, remember today our essential question is we are working on finding the distance between 2 points on a coordinate plane. Our key concept is that we are using the absolute value to find the distance between a coordinate plane, points on a coordinate plane. Remember, if they're in the same quadrant, we subtract. Different quadrant, we add the absolute value. Remember, those symbols mean absolute value. Okay, your try it problem is in your book on page 95 about the shark. So go ahead and get started on that. If you have any questions, make sure you reach out to your teacher.